Everyone, thanks for coming. We have a public hearing. The public hearing is being convened pursuant to section 890 subsection 1 of the Local Government Act to consider bylaw number 6-010, the Village of Cache Creek zoning bylaw, and bylaw number 6-011, the Village of Cache Creek official community plan. I'm John Randa, the Mayor of the Village of Cache Creek, and I'll be acting as chair of the hearing this evening. Before we begin, are there any declarations of conflict of interest from members of council? Seeing none, onward then. There, I believe, is a staff presentation at this point, if I'm not mistaken. So it's all yours.
Sounds good. Good evening, everyone. Tonight we have a presentation on some of the highlights of the draft official community plan and zoning bylaws. Before I hand over the floor to our friends at True Consulting, I want to address one item that was brought up in the second reading of the OCP. There's some discussion on item 4.3.5 for parking. The team worked on some new wording for it, which we'll be recommending formally later this evening, and based on some of the council comments that we had regarding the parking on the side, the back, the front, all that sort of stuff. Specifically the wording that we have in mind is for 4.3.5 parking. Adequate on-site parking shall be provided in the village core. Parking areas should be designed and located to minimize visual impacts on streetscape and adjacent properties where practical. So the wording is meant to encourage people to not have visible vehicles, but understanding that that may be challenging, because the village core specifically is the area like right at the intersection of Highway 1 and 97. So understanding that businesses in Todd Road and things like that, it may not be practical. So looking at it through that lens. But we can discuss that further this evening in the regular council meeting. For now, I would like to introduce our consultant team who's been working on the village on behalf of the village on this project for over a year now. Gary Malenka and Fraser Blythe are here tonight on behalf of True Consulting. They'll be presenting some of the highlights of the documents. And I'm pretty sure that you probably can't share your screen right now. So I'm going to give you that option.
Thank you.
As soon as I remember where it is. There you go. Now you should be able to.
There we go. Yes, I can now. Okay, how is that showing up in your screen? Is that all right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, good afternoon, Council. Good afternoon, Mayor. My name is Gary Malenka. I'm with True Consulting, as Mr. Latour has already indicated. But with me this evening is Fraser Blythe. Mr. Blythe has been key and critical in putting the OCP together. Jonathan Smith is another member of our team. He was unable to attend. He's attending another council meeting elsewhere. And he was key in working on the zoning bylaw. So with that, I just want to touch on some key highlights for everybody's benefit for the public hearing, and then pass it back on to the mayor to public hearing initiative.
Maybe we can move the angle so that the people present can
Yeah.
see.
We can change the angle of TV a little bit.
So why are we updating the bylaws?
Thank you.
First of all, for the official community plan, the document that currently exists dates back to 2013. And provincial legislation came out in 2023 requiring all municipalities to update their official community plans. And it was related to housing needs assessments that had to be updated or written if they didn't exist already. So the provincial legislation required an update to address the 5-year and 20-year needs of housing in the community. The incorporated the lessons of recent flooding and wildfire events. So Cache Creek has had a number of flood events over the years since the 2013 OCP came out. So some of those lessons were taken and applied through either the development permit areas in terms of hazard lands, or some of the mapping as well. is new since 2013. So we've been incorporating that into the official community plan. Also, the document offers a clearer theme-based structure and approach than what previously exists, or what currently exists, I should say. And as every OCP, it provides a vision moving forward for growth and development. In this case, it's a 20-year vision. The OCP for 2013 is sort of running its course, so we're updating the outlook for the next 20 years. So with respect to the zoning bylaw, it's an even older document, so it goes back to 1990 with amendments ever since. So there's a big modernization in terms of the regulations and rules that you'll see in the draft of the proposed zoning bylaw. Of course, because of the changes to the OCP, the zoning bylaw also needed to fall in line with the OCP. So there's some adjustments made to the zoning to make sure it was in line with new OCP provisions. The document simplifies and consolidates development regulations. Where possible, we try to make it a user-friendly document, easy to navigate. So it isn't a document that you typically see written by lawyers. It's a little bit more user-friendly, we'd like to think, and using the use of plain language throughout. Obviously, there's parts of the zoning bylaw that implements the provincial housing legislation. An example of that is secondary suites legislation to accommodate more housing options. So you'll see that in the different zones for residential. And then finally, the zoning bylaw you have before you promotes economic development through a more flexible and clear set of regulations. Try to be as practical and efficient and as user-friendly as possible, so we don't have applicants get frustrated with the process or understanding the rules and regulations. And we also don't want to have a lot of restrictive rules and regulations in the community to discourage development from happening, be it residential or commercial. So as part of the OCP process, as well as the zoning bylaw, we're required under the Local Government Act to go through an engagement process with the community. So we did just that, and over the year and a bit that we were engaged in the community, as well as council and staff, we have on the screen before you some of the key takeaways. So some of the highlights that were highly notable were infrastructure improvements, so the need for continued flood mitigation efforts, community beautification, lack of better words, we refer to it as a facelift in the what we heard report, where a facelift overall would help draw maybe residents and new businesses to the community. Housing availability and affordability. Again, this came from the housing needs report that there's definitely a shortage of variation of housing in the community and affordability. And these are common things that we saw in other communities as well in the interior of BC. So Cache Creek's no different. It's just recognizing how it's unique to this community and how we can put in policies or regulations to help make that more flexible to allow more housing types to exist. And then economic development and business growth. An interest in diversifying the economic base. There was seemed to be some interest in let's attract other businesses, a variety of businesses. That was a healthy mix if that can be achieved. Then finally, green spaces and recreation. Recognition that green spaces create a family-friendly, inclusive community for all ages. So protecting open spaces where possible, encouraging open spaces where possible. So in terms of the OCP vision and future direction, the current OCP doesn't have a set of goals. While it has a community vision, it doesn't have a set of goals. Goals and objectives are key elements of an official community plan. So one of the first things we did was sat down with council through the workshop, as you recall, council members, as well as the public through the open house, and tried to come up with what the established goals would be for the community, and also fine-tuning the community vision. So in terms of goals, you can see them up on the screen. I won't go through all of them, but you can see them up on the screen that, the intent of these goals is to help the community vision come to life. So goals that will then filter into objectives, and filter into policies in the official community plan, look at creating a vibrant and welcoming community, allowing for and accommodating adequate affordable housing for all. Obviously recognizing that there's a regional collaboration component with PNRD and other provincial bodies, etc. And of course the Indigenous neighbors we have around us, Bonaparte and Ashcroft. So in terms of future land use as it relates to the OCP, this is what on the screen before you. You see the official community plan land use map that's been proposed. It covers a number of areas. So we're looking at residential areas that we have policies that support growth and infill. We recognize that there's a number of vacant lots or lots that are underutilized, if you will, for residential. So how do we create policies to help support those lots filling in, developing to create more of a housing, more housing options? Also establish a village core mixed use, and that's for a focus on commercial and mixed use development. And that was alluded to already by CEO Couture with regards to the intersection of the two highways. And then what Cache Creek's more prominently known for is a highway commercial activity. So how do we continue to support tourism and highway-oriented business, which is a key element for the community itself? So how do we support that? How do we build upon that some more? And how do we help it with a facelift, if you will, like you referred to earlier? And then we look at neighborhood mixed use, and that provides opportunities for small-scale commercial and residential stuff. Commercial uses you would typically expect to see or want to see on the highway commercial, but more so in the neighborhoods, convenience store, office space, etc. And then obviously it's important to have industrial lands in any municipality. And so no different than for Cache Creek is making sure we're protecting the employment lands that exist. And then in terms of parks and environmental areas and outdoor recreation, commercial there's policies that are in place that protect the natural areas, recognizing we have steep slopes, recognizing we have two water bodies that go through the community, and making sure those are protected in various different ways through policies. So in terms of housing changes, both the OCP and the zoning bylaw address some of the housing needs that come out of the housing needs assessment. Some examples of that are supporting accessory dwelling units. Accessory dwelling units, ADUs, can be known as secondary suites, basement suites, carriage homes, garden suites, for example. And they've sort of all get consolidated under ADUs these days. So supporting development of those in the residential areas where possible. Allowing additional housing options. In some cases, the housing options were pretty standard. So, let's look at the threeplexes, let's look at the fourplexes, adding additional units if that's something that's of interest to somebody who owns a piece of land. And recognizing that having duplexes, fourplexes, for example, provide housing options that have different, in terms of affordability, make things a little bit more affordable for some, as opposed to your standard single-family dwelling. Again, the housing choice, we had to address provincial housing requirements, so those items were checked off as per the local government act. And then, it ultimately comes down to, with regards to the housing choices, the policies and regulations, is mechanisms to encourage housing diversity for families, seniors, and workers. There was, again, predominantly single-family homes in Cache Creek. That's recognized in the study. How do we support other options for housing in the community? And it's not saying that the current OCP didn't do a good job. We just helped buff it up a little bit, if you will. So in terms of the zoning bylaw, key zoning changes. So right now in the zoning bylaw, we have multiple commercial zones. With the new bylaw, we've simplified the commercial zones. So we went from 5 zones down to 3. In terms of housing, our residential zones, we went from 5 residential zones down to 3. Industrial, we went down from 2 to 1. And it doesn't mean we've removed those uses or those zones. They've essentially been merged into other zones and been more, and the zones have been broadened a bit. So they have more flexibility within the zones. Also makes it easier for staff and developers, builders, that they don't have to go through a plethora of different zones to figure out where they fit. And it's fairly straightforward. And for a community the size of Cache Creek, going down to 3 commercial zones, 3 residential would be an appropriate path to take. There's, as well, in terms of the old bylaw and the new bylaw, obviously something that goes back to 1990 has permanent definitions that, for lack of better words, is outdated. So we've updated a number of those definitions, added a number of definitions that wouldn't have been in play back in 1990, let alone 10 years ago even. And paid attention to modernizing regulations. Obviously provincial regulations and others have changed over time, so we're just making sure that the document speaks to that. The zoning bylaw currently has been consolidated over time, so it's not as if it's an old relic, it just was a time for a cleanup and making sure everything's in alignment. And then with regards to development permit areas or DPAs and hazard management, as it relates to the official community plan, the OCP currently has 2 DPAs. One addresses sort of the downtown, and one addresses the river, Bonaparte. Legislation has changed over the years. It pays more attention to environmental and hazard DPAs or hazard areas, and so you can regulate those areas, such as riparian and sensitive ecosystems, such as flood hazard areas, such as steep slope areas, through development permit areas. So those 3 areas have now been, or have been created, separated from where they were before, so there are, some of them were kind of put together. Flood hazard areas is a new one, and there's a bylaw that's being put forward to council in the near future here, will be supported. And in terms of the general form and character of DPAs, so we didn't just want to focus on the highway, we wanted to look at other elements of it as well. So we looked at the industrial development permit area guidelines for the industrial area, multi-unit residential where it exists, neighborhood mixed use that we talked about earlier, where you have commercial and residential together, and highway commercial. And of course the village core, which is at the crossroads on the highways there. Those guidelines help staff, they help council, they help developers and builders have an idea of what it's that facelift we were talking about, let me put it that way. So the facelift, there's mechanisms and guidelines in there that give suggestions on, if you're going to develop, here's what we'd like to see you do. And to help bring the community together, bring buildings to the front of the street, obviously recognizing, like we alluded to earlier, parking, signage, etc. It's appropriate. How do we do that? But all at the same time, without trying to dissuade or discourage development from occurring through too many provisions or too many guidelines. With that, I just wanted to thank you for allowing me to get a little bit of that that's up into the public hearing here, and we'll be around later on for questions if council or others have any questions. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much for the presentation. And before we proceed to public input, staff will provide a brief overview of the proposed bylaws. I'll ask CAO Couture to present.
Oh, already did that.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Already there.
I'll now open the floor to public input. There's some hearing rules and process. At this public hearing, all persons present who believe their interest in property is affected by the proposed bylaws shall be given a reasonable opportunity to be heard or to present written submissions respecting matters contained in the proposed bylaws. To maintain order and ensure everyone has an opportunity to be heard, the following rules of procedure apply. Only bylaw 6-010, the zoning bylaw, and bylaw 6-011, the official community plan, are being considered at this meeting. Please keep your comments relevant to these bylaws. When addressing council, please state your name and address clearly for the record. Your name and comments will be recorded in the minutes of this meeting. Each speaker will be permitted to address the hearing twice. Your initial presentation is not limited in time, provided your comments are relevant and the hearing is not being obstructed. After all persons who wish to speak have done so, a second opportunity will be offered. At that time, each speaker will be limited to 10 minutes. Members of council may ask questions following your presentation. However, the role of council this evening is primarily to listen. It's not the function of council to debate the merits of the proposed bylaws with individual citizens. Everyone shall be given a reasonable opportunity to be heard. No one will be or should feel discouraged or prevented from making their views known. If further hearings are required, we'll reconvene until each person has had the opportunity to be heard. If you have any concerns in the manner in which the hearing is conducted, please direct those comments to me as chair. Before we hear from speakers, I'll note that written submissions received prior to 12 noon on today, June 1st, will be read into the record in their entirety. I believe we have one.
We have one. This one comes from Tony Dulay. The written submission is titled OCP Draft Feedback and Suggestions for the meeting tonight. Zoning, tax fairness, and OCP conflicts. The conflict, rezoning 2990 Trans-Canada Highway for organics processing contradicts OCP goals regarding diverse economies, environmental stewardship, and concentrating industry near the landfill. Tax inequity. Cache Creek is missing out on appropriate industrial tax revenue. 2990 Trans-Canada Highway benefits from lower property taxes, while our properly zoned property pays over $55,000. Business deterrent. Rewarding businesses that bypass standard zoning rules creates an unfair playing field. This discourages new businesses and investors from coming to the area. 2, our contributions to the OCP vision. We have invested significant time and capital into developing our location. We've successfully attracted 8 new businesses to the site. We've created over 60 jobs, directly achieving the economic synergies outlined in the OCP. 3, ALR protection and beautification. Negative precedent. Allowing operations at 2990 Trans-Canada Highway sets a dangerous precedent for inappropriate commercial development on agricultural land. Environmental impact. The resulting odors and plastic waste actively work against the protection of natural assets and the beautification of Cache Creek. 4, labor force renewal and community growth. Labor storage solution to attract and retain younger households. The municipality should utilize the rural community immigration pilot. This creates a pathway to permanent residency for assigned foreign workers to live and work in the community. Regional collaboration. Recommend forming a joint business group with Ashcroft to strengthen the local economic base to take advantage of the Golden Triangle. And thank you for your time and consideration of these ideas and suggestions.
Thank you, CAO Couture. Now, are there any registered speakers that have? No? So on then. Onward with general public input. There being no registered speakers, I'll now ask, is there any member of the public present who wishes to speak to bylaw 6-010, the zoning bylaw, or bylaw 6-011, the official community plan? That fell like a thud.
Just my opinion that I feel that, oh, sorry, go ahead.
You've got to state your name
Oh,
and address.
yes, okay. Annette Pittman, 1331 Quartz Road, Cache Creek. It's just my opinion that I would have liked to see this OCP plan be left for the new mayor and council to complete it, to pursue anything with it. That's my opinion.
Thank you. Now, we've, I guess, heard from everybody who wishes to speak.
Well, because it's not a deadline, like, it's not imperative that this has to be completed today. It's.
We'll
good,
just
it's
move
the
along.
part of it.
We'll move along as planned. We've heard from all persons who wish to speak, or each person, or the only person who wished to speak. I'll now offer the speaker a second opportunity to address council. The second round is limited to 10 minutes per speaker. Is there anyone who wishes to speak a second time? Apparently not.
Wow. It's just that it isn't something that is imperative that needs to be done today. And I think that it's important that the new mayor and council have their opportunity to have input and make decisions that are going forward for the community. But my next question was the bike lane and flower pots that were supposed to be, is that part of this OCP plan for downtown? I can't remember, that was on the
Administrator
highway.
Co-Chair.
The OCP doesn't, it's a theoretical plan. It's not, it doesn't prescribe any specifics for specific, like a specific development or structural change. It's meant to like thematically guide the community, set the goals and strategies for the community, that sort of thing. It doesn't get down to the other plans and things get down into the nitty gritty of, in this space we want to do this, or this space we want to do this. It's more looking at it from the lens of the community's goals, directions moving forward, and also third parties that want to develop within the community, seeing what Cache Creek's goals and values are.
So again, I would have to say that the new mayor and council would and should have that opportunity to make these decisions going forward. But I just wanted to ensure it wasn't the bike lane and flower pots going in front of my property. We all know my decision on that.
Yes, sir.
Council and Mayor, just out of curiosity, I'm not sure the way this works. Like, have you guys discussed? I know I was here last week, or have you guys? Is this the first time you've heard of the feedback, or have you discussed it before?
We've discussed it amongst ourselves. There hasn't been a public hearing opportunity until today.
Okay. So, on my thoughts, and previously I was in here, what do you think of the idea where it said in the OCP you need to attract, to grow the population, you need to attract new programs? Have you guys taken into consider any other new programs to attract or grow the population?
Not actively, but we're always interested in creating an environment that attracts people to the community, and we do our best to do that.
All right, thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Before closing this public hearing, you look like you had your mouth full of words.
Is this gonna be only one public hearing, or is there gonna be another?
Yes, just one public hearing. Before closing the hearing, I'll call 3 times for any further speakers on any of the matters contained in the proposed bylaws. For the first time, is there anyone who wishes to make any further representations?
I think I've made it pretty clear.
For the second time, is there anyone who wishes to make any further representations? For the third and final time, is there anyone who wishes to make any further representations? There being no further speakers, I declare this public hearing closed. Thank you for attending and for your participation. The hearing is adjourned at 6:28. That gets rid of that. Now, we can go to the regular meeting. My pleasure to call to order the regular council meeting at the Village of Cache Creek, June 1st, 2026. There being no delegations, in spite of the fact that we've got a room full of people. The minutes of the May 19th regular council meeting, I would move that the minutes of the council meeting held on May 19th be adopted as circulated. Second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Is there any business arising from the minutes? Seeing none. Committee reports. Economic Development, Councillor Diebert. Thank you. On to Budget and Administrative Services. I would move that council approve the signing of the Statement of Financial Information for the year ending December 31st, 2025. Second. Any discussion? That's not a little hand in the bottom left there. Okay.
All good.
All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Financial Officer Certification Form 2025 Annual Expenditure Report. I would move that council receive and file the Financial Officer Certification Form 2025 Annual Expenditure Report. Second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Bylaw and Policy Review. Councillor Ranta.
Item number 1, that the minutes of the bylaw and policy review committee, held on May 19th of 2026 be adopted as presented. I move.
Second.
Second.
Oh, good for you. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed, carried?
Item number 2.
Yeah.
I move the council adopt policy number CP-gov.1, policy framework, development, adoption, review, and repeal as presented.
Discussion?
Too late.
Kelly got you that time.
All those in favor? Opposed, carried, thank you.
Item 3, I move that council adopt policy number CP-gov2, council orientation policy.
Discussion?
This is a new policy that the committee has presented here. We just felt that it was providing clear direction to staff on the expectations of an orientation program for an incoming council.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed, carried, thank you.
Item number 4, I move that council give first, second, and third readings to bylaw number 1-001-2026, procedure bylaw amendment.
Discussion? Oh, you just about made it that time.
Before you vote on it.
Discussion,
Discussion?
yeah?
Okay. So the policy committee has worked hard over the last 3.5 years to review policies in the village, and in addition to dividing the policies between council policies and administrative policies, this proposed amendment gives clarity on the policies and how they're entitled, so that it's clear to the public which ones are council policies, which ones are administrative policies, and just the different categories of them. So this amendment guides our kind of policy organization in the village.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed, carried, thank you.
Item 5, I move that council give final consideration to and adopt bylaw number 5-009-2026, bylaw notice enforcement amendment.
Second. Any discussion?
Yes, the policy committee reviewed,
Oh, no, the next one.
the policy committee, reviewed the recommended, updates to the, bylaw notice enforcement, and we have aligned the updates with, the TNRD, so we believe this is an improvement.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed, carried, thank you.
Item number 6, I move that council give third reading to bylaw number 6-010-2026, zoning and development of real property within the village of Cache Creek as presented.
Discussion?
Well, I'm really thrilled that we're here at this spot. This was identified at the beginning of this term of office, and we have, it's been a very involved process, including many opportunities for public consultation. And I don't know if perhaps the CAO would like to speak a little bit about it.
If I may.
Administrator Couture.
Yeah, I'm happy to see it here as well. There were 4 large policies that the village has that were identified by the Policy and Bylaw Committee very early on as these are the big ones. If we can do one of them, that'll be a fantastic thing in this term, just based on the size of the community. So factoring in that there was flooding, and also 2 of them are in front of us tonight. I think that's a great thing. Additionally, looking at both the official community plan and the zoning bylaw, they incorporate a lot of lessons learned over the past decade to do with water management and emergency management. We're lucky to have the knowledge that we have. We're lucky to work with the consultants that we do and have all these different things that we've experienced incorporated in it. So a key thing with a zoning bylaw and a community plan, they're our best tools looking to 20 years from now for ensuring that the municipality is able to sustain itself through an emergency lens. So looking at it now, the lessons learned that we have really helps bring things forward. It won't have a direct, voting this through won't have a direct impact today on flooding, but 20 years from now it will. So.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
I'd like to see the urban reserve move to R2 to make acreages possible for anybody that wants to develop.
Do you have a specific property in mind?
I was asked about east of town, or east of Tommy Boulevard. So what is the trailer park that's there? So just east of that.
Yeah, that's a mobile home park.
Yeah. So
That's
just
maybe 2 or
open
3.
up for acreages east of that.
East of that. Is that by way of a motion?
Yes.
So we've got a motion to adjust the urban reserve to AR2, I think it was, eh?
Yeah, R2.
Yeah, it's AR2.
AR2.
I'll second it for discussion.
Discussion.
That would be an amendment to the existing motion on the table?
Yeah.
I will move where my stuff is.
The
Councillor.
2 acre lots all went actually quite fast. So.
The ones at Lopez Creek.
That's correct.
Yeah.
So maybe this will give people incentive if they want larger properties to build.
Mayor Renta, if I may.
Yes, yes. Councillor Peters.
CAO Couture, just for clarification, could that be brought up under a zoning amendment request if that person or a property owner desired to have something different than what the property was zoned at?
Yeah, could
So
be done as part of the
why,
zoning as part of the creation of the bylaw or as part of a zoning amendment request in the future.
there it goes, yeah. Because I think that the amount of time and research that's gone into this to date, to make a change to satisfy one property, I don't think is fair to the rest of the community.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councillor Ranta.
Well, I just seconded the motion for the amendment, just to kind of hear a little bit more deeply what the proposal was.
Uh-huh.
And because there's an amendment process if possible, I think that at this stage in the reading of the bylaw, that personally my view is that the change not be made, so I won't be voting in favor of the amendment.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed?
I'm opposed.
That's defeated.
So
The amendment is defeated on the bylaw or the motion as it was worded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Carried, thank you. Is that two hands? You got two votes over there? Yeah, oh, perfect. On to item 7, Councillor Ranta.
Well, our policy has been really busy, as you guys can see. So for the last item, for our committee item number 7, I move that council give third reading to bylaw number 6-011, 2026, official community plan for the village of Cache Creek.
Second.
Any discussion? Councillor Ranta.
Well, I just have to say a really big thank you, number one, to the people here tonight, to the people who have been present at the meetings building up to this stage. Also to the members of the public who gave feedback and input over the last year at different community events. It's very significant that this work has come to this stage of completion. And I just want to give a big thanks to all those staff and consultants that worked so hard on this. It was a very thorough document. I'm very proud of it. I think it reflects a lot of the work that this council has put into really doing a good job on updating policies and bylaws to reflect the current reality. So in opposed to some of the speakers tonight, I believe that this is really kind of the fingerprint of this council. Our really diligent work on top of all the flood recovery has created this official community plan. We all know that there's processes and procedures for flexibility. That's why council exists. So we're not really dictating anything, but rather setting a general direction for the future of the village. I think it's a fantastic plan, and I'm really proud of it.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
Mayor Renta, if I may?
Yes, Councillor Peters.
Yes, and just to address some of the concerns that were voiced, is we are mandated by the provincial government on our OCP, and we are actually considerably behind schedule, which should have been completed before the end of last year. So it was one of the big projects that this council had taken on, and this is just the fruition of the efforts that have happened over the last year or two on this project. So it's not that we're rushing it through, it's not that it's been that we're trying to push something through too quickly. It has been in discussion. There has been, since last summer, there's been public consultation. So, you know, this is kind of a completion of a long-term project.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Administrator Couture.
Further to what I said earlier in the introduction, staff would make the recommendation, if it was council's pleasure, to make an amendment to the motion to recommend that for 4.3.5 parking, the wording be adjusted to adequate on-site parking shall be provided in the village core. Parking areas should be designed and located to minimize visual impacts on streetscape and adjacent properties wherever practical.
Move.
Is there a seconder?
Second.
The amendment is moved and seconded. Any discussion on the amendment?
I'm in favor of this change because it reflects more some of the concerns that council and others provided regarding just the nature of the downtown core of the village, and reflects a broader opportunity for interpretation of the parking guidelines.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none on the amendment, all those in favor? Opposed? Are you opposed? Councillor Peters? No, okay.
No, I have my hand up in favor. I can't really see myself because I have a split screen, so.
Well, maybe it's just a slow connection or something. On the motion then as amended, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Are you opposed now?
It's a slow.
No, I'll just say if I'm opposed, because apparently there's a lag.
Yeah, because your hand pops up when I say opposed.
Exactly when it says it too.
Yeah.
I'll just say when I'm opposed.
It's all good. That's carried then. On to Public Works, Councillor Liebert.
Nothing new at this time.
Healthcare and Protective Services, Councillor Ranta.
Mayor Ranta?
Yes, oh, I'm
Mayor Ranta,
sorry.
I will declare a conflict here and excuse myself.
Okay. I hope you're not gone long. On to the fire department election results. I think we've got a summary of the election results. The new fire chief is Alana Peters, who was the first assistant chief previous year. Now we have a first assistant chief, Adam Newman, and a second assistant chief, Gerhard Singer, and a variety of other positions. Could I have a motion that we accept the fire department election results as presented?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed, carried. Thank you. Okay, Councillor Peters, you can come back now. Oh, there you are. On to emergency management, Councillor Peters.
Sorry, I told everyone. No, staff have been attending, they attended a wildfire preparedness workshop last week, so the staff are taking good care of us and making sure we're ready for everything.
Thank you. Parks and Recreation, Councillor Ranta.
Nothing new.
Thank you. Landfill Advisory, we've got a summary of the post-closure fund later in the agenda. TNRD and Intergovernmental Liaison, I have nothing to report on that. Cache Creek Community Fund, Councillor Ranta.
There's nothing new on this side.
Thank you. Staff reports. We've got on the agenda pages 308 and 309. The payments made by the village office. I would move the council receive and file the report from CFO Martini regarding April 2026 payments made by the village office.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Inter-Community Bylaw Officer Report on Local Government Compliance and Enforcement Association Conference Summary. I would move the council receive and file a report. Inter-Community Bylaw Officer Reggie Amiot, the LGCEA Conference.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Information correspondence. There's 4 items of incoming correspondence, and I do want to express appreciation for items 3 and 4, each of which are $1,000 donation to get new tables, I think, for the community hall. And the suggestion is that the tables at the community hall go down and be stored at the park. Councillor Ranta.
I move that council write letters of thanks to the Rotary and the Lions Club for their donation for the tables at the community hall.
I'll second.
Any discussion? You're in conflict of interest among them. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Outgoing correspondence. I don't think there is any. On to new business. Administrator.
Receive and file.
Oh, receive and file the items and information correspondence. Thank you.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. On to new business now. Is there any new business? Seeing none? Questions from the public?
Thank you. You mentioned there was a summary.
Ms. Coomber.
You mentioned there was a summary of the post-closure post-closure fund coming up later in the agenda, were you just teasing?
Pardon me?
Were you just teasing?
Was that what?
The post-closure fund was coming up later.
Well, I thought there was. I thought I saw it here somewhere. Isn't there
It was
one?
last agenda.
Last meeting? Oh,
Yeah.
well, that goes to show.
Thank you.
That's what happens when you have a 300 and something page agenda.
Yeah, that's for sure. Okay, yeah, I must have been mistaken, Ms. Coomer.
No problem.
No problem, I've been mistaken before, and I probably will be again. Any other questions from the public? Yes, sir.
So will or how will you guys discuss if you guys would be on that program for the rural community immigration program? Was that something you'll do later, or is that discussed? How is that taken to the next step?
If a council member asks that it be placed on the agenda, then it will be placed on the agenda and we'll discuss it at that time.
So it has to be done by a council member, not the public, to put it in, or how?
Well, you could send a note or write a letter to council suggesting that they participate in that program. And your letter would be on the agenda, and then if council chooses to pursue that opportunity, that would be discussed at that time.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah. Any other questions from the public? Seeing none, are there questions from the press?
Not today.
Oh, my goodness gracious gosh. We have need of a closed session pursuant to section 90.1 and 90.2 of the community charter. I would ask for a motion to that effect.
So, second.
Who moved it?
He moved, I'll second.
Oh, there you go. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried? There will be a brief break and we'll come back in closed session.